Nujum. We've done a session for Wales FA in November, I think, on the Islamophobia Awareness Month. A lot of the affiliate members of Wales FA joined the session. So I guess this is for staff members who work for FA. Is it okay if we can introduce ourselves? We get an understanding of the roles everyone's in.
Yeah, of course. Nick, do you want to first go? Nick Davidson.
Yeah, morning all. Head of Business Development for the FAW Trust, the foundation side of the FAW.
Next. Hey guys, I'm Melissa Palmer. I'm Corporate Communications Executive at the FAW. Should I hand you over to Caris? Welcome, Caris. By the way, I haven't seen you since you started. Congratulations on the new role.
Oh, thank you. Hopefully I see you all soon in the office. But yeah, yesterday's my first day and I'm the new Quality, Diversity, Inclusion, Integrity Executive, working alongside Jason. So yeah, nice to meet everyone.
Morning guys, Danielle. My internet's a little bit unstable, so I'm not sure what I'm catching and what I'm not, but hopefully you can hear me. If I sound like a robot, apologies. I have had morning coffee, so it's definitely my internet, but I work for the FAW Trust and I'm Club Services Manager.
Hi guys, I'm Nick Davis. I'm General Manager of the GD Cymru South. So I am here. I know I haven't got my camera on. I'm still eating breakfast, which is why I'm hiding it for a minute, Jason. But
what are you eating? Tell us what you're eating.
I'm having egg on toast. It's very boring.
Oh, nice.
It's almost
nice. Good protein to start the day off.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I'll be on camera in a bit. But looking forward to the presentation.
Is that it, Jason? Yeah, I see it, right?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Cool. So just a bit about what we do at Nujum. So my name is Ebbs. I'm the founder and CEO. I don't really like titles myself. So a bit of background about myself. I used to work for the FA in a safeguarding and child protection capacity. Then I left and sort of started this journey I'm on now with Nujum Sports. We are a not-for-profit organisation supporting Muslim athletes in sport with their faith. The Ramadan workshops is a way of this, really, supporting clubs and associations support their, their members and their players. Wales FA have also signed up to our Muslim athlete charter. I'm actually talking to Cricket Wales now as well, Jason, for be interested. They sort of reached out to us as well to try and sign the charter. And Glamorgan, off the back of all the work we've done with cricket and ECB, and we've had a couple of cricket clubs as well sign up. So hopefully Cricket Wales and FA Wales together. These are some of the footballers and young athletes that we support. I mean, a bit about Nujum and why we exist, obviously, to see a world where Muslim athletes flourish and fulfill their potential, and our mission is by building and empowering and supporting a community of Muslim athletes. Nujum aims to empower future generations to be positive members of society. This is Khadija, the first hijabi jockey. A bit of our scope and what we do, really, obviously faith advice and directions. The first four are sort of individual stuff, individual, advice and guidance that we provide to players and athletes. Counselling and mental health support, athlete and community building initiative. We have like an event every quarter with athletes where we get together, have some food and have some speakers. And the educational and training support is more for organisations like yourselves to support Muslim athletes and players. This is Jake, is an interesting one because he's literally, we've seen his journey from like the age of 16. He's now 21 or 20, I think, and he's in the Exeter first team now. Centre back made his debut, so it's amazing to see Muslim athletes flourish and fulfill their potential. So today's session obviously is a bit about Ramadan. That's coming up in about 30 days' time. Most of the world's 1.6 billion Muslims will observe Ramadan. This means there's a good chance you might encounter someone, I'm sure a friend or a co-worker, or even your local barista after the breakfast. You're in your local barista at a Starbucks, your child's teacher, you're celebrating and fasting, doing all sorts of other activities that are quite unique to Ramadan. And we go through some of the activities that we do in the month as well. So what is Ramadan? So Ramadan is the 9th month of the Hijri calendar. So now, Hijri calendar, so mainly in the Arab world, the Hijri calendar goes by the moon. It started when the Prophet Muhammad, he migrated to Medina from Mecca. So if you think about it, right? We obviously follow the Gregorian calendar here in most places around the world. But in Islam, we follow the Hijri calendar. So it's a 9 month, and it's just the name of a month. Ramadan is just literally like, January, February. It's the name of a month. Out of the 5 pillars of Islam, Ramadan is the fourth pillar. Migration was made on 622, so that's when it started, roughly 1400 years ago. Ramadan can be 29 or 30 days in length. Obviously, we won't know because it goes by the moon until towards the end of, usually the day before. We'll know when Ramadan finishes because it goes by the moon. You'll see like when the month starts, before the month starts. So this year it's on the 1st of April or the 2nd of April. So a day before, usually you'll find people are looking for the new moon because that's when we know Ramadan started. Every year it moves forward, Ramadan, 11 days compared to the Gregorian calendar, not just Ramadan, but in the Hijri calendar. So this year it's on the 1st of April. Next year it's probably going to be around the 20th, 21st of March. The interesting thing is Ramadan is going to be in the footballing calendar for the next 20 years, if my calculations are correct. So for the next 20 years, Ramadan will be celebrated in the footballing calendar. Obviously, when it goes to December, November, it's a lot easier, shorter days. And by the way, everyone, just if you've got any questions, just jump in, no problem at all. Just unmute yourselves and just jump in. Happy to answer as we go along as well. So the Hijri calendar is currently on 1442. So there's a 43-year difference between the Gregorian calendar and the Hijri calendar. So as I mentioned, this year it will start on either the 1st or the 2nd of April, and it will finish on the 1st or the 2nd of May. Now, the Hijri calendar is the official calendar in countries around the Gulf, especially Saudi Arabia. So countries like Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Bahrain, they'll usually use the Hijri calendar, not the Gregorian calendar to go by. Other Muslim countries use the Gregorian calendar for civil purposes and only turn to the Hijri calendar for religious purposes. So most of Europe and everywhere around the world, Muslims will use the Gregorian calendar. We'll only turn to the Hijri calendar for like Eid and Ramadan and a few of the other celebrations that we do. Now, why do Muslims fast in Ramadan, right? It's simple because it says in the Quran, in chapter 2, verse 183, where it says, all those who you believe fast. Now, I know one of the things we take from Ramadan, right, is that obviously you get you want to feel the whole hunger, and you want to feel how people without food will feel. That's important. However, the main thing that we take from Ramadan is that is God-fearness. So one of the things the main thing we take away is the whole aspect of God-fearing. We say it's something that most of us will look to take away from it. Like prayer, fasting is compulsory upon all those who have reached puberty. The fast is from sunrise to sunset, no food or drink allowed. So not even a sip of water, nothing. So this year, I think it starts around 5 a.m. and finishes about, I would say around 7:30. And it's important to reflect on yourself and your character during the month, to be more generous, to be patient and understanding of others. They say that during Ramadan, in the month of Ramadan, Muslims give the most. Last year, around £30 million was donated during Ramadan. One of the reasons for that is that the third pillar of Islam, zakat, sort of tells us to give money to charity. It's you have to give. So how the card works is you have to give 2.5% of your savings. So if throughout the whole year I've saved about say £10,000, I have to give 2.5% of that to charity. So you're poor, you're homeless, and you have to give. It's money that doesn't belong to me. It's money that belongs to the poor. So it's very important for Muslims. You'll see in Ramadan that goes up because we feel that if we give in Ramadan, we get the rewards are higher. And to carry out more acts of worship, you'll see that after we finish our fasting, we go to the mosque around 9-10 o'clock and spend about an hour in there. And you see footballers all go to the mosque in the month of Ramadan. And they try and increase their worship. Now, exemptions for fasting, and this is something that's important as well for a lot of the footballers, and I'll go through the reasons why. Obviously, those who haven't reached puberty, those who are traveling, those who are ill, breastfeeding or pregnant. Those who are ill, traveling, pregnant or breastfeeding must make up the fast before the next Ramadan starts. So if you miss, say, 10 fasts, you just have to make them up during the year. If a person is terminally ill, they can feed a poor person for each fast they miss. So that's roughly around £3 to £4 a day. They'll have to feed someone. Usually that they'll feed someone in a less, a more disadvantaged country, I guess. They'll feed someone. Now, the reason that traveling is mentioned is because a lot of the footballers during the month of Ramadan, especially in Wales as well, I guess, they'll be traveling to away games. Now, we actually encourage footballers when they're traveling to away games to actually not fast because you don't have to fast. So obviously now traveling is quite, for example, if I was to travel from here to Wales, I would say that's traveling, right? It'd probably take me about 3 hours. We're based in London. Sometimes if I travel from here to West London, it can take me 3 hours. So it wouldn't be really considered as traveling, even though distance is shorter. So there's a small guidance on what is considered traveling. Usually there's two different opinions, 80 kilometers or more, or what is customary regarded as traveling, even if the distance is not 80 kilometers. If the custom is, if in the custom 100 kilometers is not regarded as traveling, then it shouldn't be regarded as such. Say, for example, if I'm going from here to Birmingham, which is over 100 kilometers, usually sometimes I would fast. Footballers, we genuinely recommend that they shouldn't be fasting when we go into away games, especially if it's somewhere far away. And that's important, really. Some of the activities in Ramadan, so you fast for the whole month. The night prayer I was talking about in congregation, so after usually 9 to 10 p.m. The last 10 nights, they are known as the nights of power. The last 10 nights are really special for Muslims. We try and spend as much as we can of time in the mosque. We start the fast off with something called sahur, the meal before sunrise. Usually it's like our breakfast. So we'll try and have eggs, bread, porridge, slow release carbs, so that will help us throughout the day. And then we'll break our fast with iftar, which is the meal after sunset. Now, I'm sure Jason will organize an iftar for everyone. It'll be good for a team. It helps with team bonding as well. You'll find a lot of clubs will be just doing iftar up and down the country. And again, obviously, you're hungry throughout the whole day. You haven't eaten. Most people break their fast with dates and milk and water, obviously, as well. And that's important. And then we have myself personally, I'll have like chicken or rice, some protein and some bit of carbs to get it going. Usually you'll break it with other Muslims and your family. And just in general, you increase in worship throughout the month. You'll see a lot of Muslims reading the Quran, giving charity and offering voluntary prayers. One of the things that we're doing at Nujum is we're giving everyone a Ramadan pack, all the footballers, Muslim footballers, cricketers and rugby league players. We're giving around 20 or 25 to Wales FA as well to distribute to some of the Muslim staff members and members as well. And you'll see in it, there'll be some dates, there'll be some there'll be a travel prayer mat, and there'll be things that they can utilize for the month. Again, that's very important. The ending of Ramadan obviously is determined by the new moon, and then you have the Eid celebration the day after you finish fasting, which starts with morning prayers, and then usually on Eid day you celebrate by visiting family and friends. Pretty similar to Christmas, you'd say. And then, but one of the things we have to do is on the morning prior to the Eid prayer, we have to give food to the poor, and that is compulsory. So the poor around the world have something to celebrate with as well, and that's important. And it's about roughly £5 per person in the household we have to give, and that usually goes again abroad, places like Asia, Africa. Some of the greetings you might hear throughout the day. Some of the greetings you might hear throughout throughout the month. Ramadan Mubarak, which is usually said at the beginning of Ramadan, means have a happy, blessed Ramadan. Ramadan Kareem is also said at the beginning of Ramadan. It just means have a generous Ramadan. Eid Mubarak, usually said on the day of Eid, means have a blessed Eid. And Eid celebrations, as I said before, includes visiting family and giving gifts. And there's usually lots of food is cooked as well and distributed to neighbors and work colleagues as well. Now, the nutritional aspect of Ramadan is something that's very important to athletes as well. I think it's important because obviously you're not eating throughout the whole day or drinking, and you only have 7 to 8 hours to replenish your body from sunset to sunrise. Dates and milk are usually the first thing that's eaten. Several smaller meals are preferred to a large meal when breaking the fast. Your stomach is really small because you haven't eaten throughout the day, so start off with a small meal, and then throughout the evening you can have another meal as well. There was a research done by World Health Organization, where it's a known sort of fact that people actually put on weight during Ramadan because of the unusual eating hours and amount of food they process more. You're supposed to eat less, but unfortunately people eat a lot during the month. The nutritional guide that we provided for athletes, that's going to be available in the pack, and obviously we'll send it to the World FA, but happy to provide that to anyone that needs it to support their members or colleagues as well, online as well. I guess the main thing is now any questions really. I'm happy to answer any questions. Anything that's not clear, let me know. Hello.
Thanks, Ed. Have you got any questions? Stuff covered in there. I think it was quite useful, everyone, some of the greetings as well, because I should imagine everyone on here will see a lot of those greetings kind of on social media. We put some of those out ourselves with an understanding kind of what they actually mean as well is quite important also.
Yeah, that's important as well, because you'll find a lot of not just clubs and association, a lot of the players will put out the greetings as well.
Any questions for anyone else?
I guess I was just wondering, in terms of, obviously a lot of that information has been, like, thank you so much for the presentation, really helpful. What would you recommend, sort of, how can non-Muslims support those during Ramadan then? Is there any sort of guidance that you give for non-Muslims during this time too?
Yeah, I think obviously some of the stuff that the Wales FA and Jason have been doing, I think the main thing obviously is recognizing an athlete for their faith and the fact that they might be fasting, and this is literally the first step. And just sort of like, they might need a place to pray if you have Muslim colleagues, or and that's something I know we're working quite closely with Jason to try and set up as well. So that's an amazing thing, going into a place of work, even if they're coming for meeting, knowing that there's a prayer in there. And I guess just being aware that someone might be fasting. Like when I remember when I was when like I've walked into offices before and I've had colleagues say, how's your fast going, Ebs? Like even little things like that, they really help. Just knowing that someone around you is aware that you're fasting. And then obviously even just having one day where you can break fast together, even if you're not fasting yourself. I do highly recommend for you guys to try it one day this month. And maybe not one day, at least 2 days, because it takes you about one day to get into it, get the headaches. And it's the first couple of days are hard, especially for myself. I'm a big coffee drinker. So the first days are pretty hard, but you get used to it. Even just a day itself where you can have breakfast together. I'm sure you've got Muslim friends and Muslim colleagues who'll be fasting, so it'd be nice just to get into the spirit of things as well.
I think one of the things that always amazes me with the stats is that particularly in Ramadan, the amount of money is donated to charities in the UK in particular. I think a lot of people don't realise that, and you know, as often as the case doesn't get covered in the media and things, but as you said, the pillar with regards to sort of donating about 2.5% of the wages, you know, that's something that often people don't know or aren't aware of, which is such an important part as well.
Yeah, we'll get a lot of footballers contacting us and saying, Ebs, I need to give my zakat this year. Where do I give it? Because there's like they have to be. You can't just give it to anybody. You can't give it to me or Jason or anyone. It has to be someone sort of like poor or in need, basically. So as you can imagine, like, you know, footballers might have savings that you know, and that's the saving not just of the money in your account, but also on gold and on your wealth as well. So it fluctuates obviously depending on how much your savings is. So yeah, last year I think I remember about 30 million from the Guardian. I read an article that was given during the month. So, and obviously not all of it comes here. There's actually one of our partners for the Ramadan Pact is the National Zakat Foundation. So they are sort of the body in the UK that sort of distribute, you can give it to them and they distribute it to the poor. Their turnover is about 4 million, so they get about £4 million a year of people's zakat, basically. So yeah, that's something you'll find that. And the traveling one, the advice about traveling, that's very important. We actually urge a lot of footballers to take that on board, because if you think about it, sometimes they'll be traveling somewhere the day before, so they'll get at least 2 days respite to take on the nutrients and stuff for playing. A lot of footballers actually don't even fast on match day, even if they're playing at home. I know Mo Salah doesn't fast on match day. For Liverpool fans, any Liverpool fans in here?
No.
Nick, is that a yes? Just when I thought we could be friends, Nick.
Any other questions? I mean, we've got a session tomorrow night for the wider football family, which I'm sure some of the coaches in particular will be interested to see and how they can play a role in supporting some of their players. That we'll be focusing doing around them as well. But we're also, myself and Ed, just working on some fact sheets that we're going to be sort of developing and releasing as well. More sort of the wider football family in Wales, but I'm sure will be relevant to the staff this year as well to keep us more aware of some of the stuff that Ed shared with us today as well. So yeah, any final questions from anyone? Daniel, Nick, or Karis?
No questions, just a thank you. So as Melissa said, yeah, thanks very much.
No worries at all. I hope that was beneficial, and yeah. And any questions, feel free to reach out or ask Jason any following questions onto me throughout the month. Happy to support where we can.
Well, thanks everyone for coming on today, and yeah, we'll catch you soon. But yeah, just yours obviously.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah.
Cool. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
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 Cheers.